Hello, this is Daniela from Sewing for a Living. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this pumpkin princess costume in less than an hour. Here is what I've used for this project. A piece of orange organza fabric, approximately 3 times the desired length of the skirt. Mine is 57 inches wide, so I used the whole width of the fabric for the width of the skirt. 1.3 yards of dark brown or black woven fabric, a 25 inches piece of black string band, polyester or cotton one, a piece of elastic for the skirt, a measurement tape, scissors, chalk and some pins. I've cut 3 pieces of the organza. The first is as long as the skirt should be, plus 1.5 inches to cover the elastic. This depends on the width of the elastic you use. Just add it to the length of the skirt and maybe 1/2 inch for hem allowance. I just serged the fabric at the hemline so it won't unravel, and I didn't leave hem allowance. Cut the other 2 pieces of organza. They should measure 2 inches shorter than each other. Then make a side seam to each piece so it looks like a rectangle. Once all the layers of the skirt are closed at the side seam and hemmed, put them inside of each other. Put the longest layer first and the shortest on the top. This way you are going to get some volume and thickness so the skirt resembles a pumpkin as much as possible. This is how the skirt will look at the hemline when it is done. The next step is to align the layers at the waistline. Pin them all around so you can make a joining seam. I made a little gathering so it would be easier to distribute the fabric to the elastic later. How much elastic you are going to need depends on the size of the kit. The easiest way to measure is directly on the waistline, stretching it a little so it is not too loose. Another way that I would recommend is to use the elastic measurement chart that is provided in the description below. Pin the elastic to the front, the back and both sides so it is distributed evenly to the fabric. If you need some help to attach the elastic properly, please watch my How to Sew an Elastic Waistband video. Basically what you need to do is to sew on the edge of the fabric and the edge of the elastic so you can top stitch it later. I made an additional step here and sewn in the middle of the elastic to secure it in place. I don't normally do that, but the organza is stiff and slippery and this helps for top stitching it later. The last step to be made here is to top stitch the elastic. Make sure to fold the fabric evenly and pin it around to secure it. Then make the top stitch at the edge of the elastic. This way it will be fully covered and will look nicely on the inside. Here is the ready pumpkin skirt with nicely gathered elastic. Now let's make the riding hood. The amount of fabric you are going to need depends on the overall length. Measure from the shoulder down to the edge and add another 16 inches for the hood. Cut out those 16 inches so we can make the hood later. Use the whole width of the fabric. Mine was 54 inches wide. Fold the fabric once, then fold it once again. Now we are going to make the shoulders and the neckline of the riding hood. To do so, just measure and mark 2 inches from the edge of the double folded fabric down on both sides. That would be 5 centimeters. Next, measure where the center of the folded piece of fabric is and mark it as well. Mine measures to be 6.2 inches or 16 centimeters. Now, join the 2 side marks with the center mark. Cut out the fabric so it looks something like this. The last step here is to cut out additional 2.5 inches or 5-6 centimeters, but only on one fold. Don't cut both of the fabric layers. This will form a bit deeper neckline only at the front. Here is how it looks when it's ready. You can see that only the front part of the neckline is deeper. Now just unfold the fabric and fold it once again. This time fold both sides towards the middle. You can see how shoulders and a neckline are starting to form. The next step would be to pin along the shoulders and make the shoulder seams. Don't forget to anchor the stitches. Now that the shoulder seams are done, let's make and attach the hood. I've cut the hood out of the 16 inches piece we left. You just need to cut the fabric on fold with the provided dimensions. Then you can make a slight curve at the bottom for a better look. Make the back center seam of the hood. Then attach it to the body and assemble both parts of the riding hood. I use pins to distribute the hood evenly, starting at the center back. Once I've marked the center back, I pin it to the back seam of the hood. Also, make sure to put the details face to face, which I didn't and had to pin all over once again. Then, I pin the ends and distribute what is left in between. I make the seam using a serger, but a straight stitch is perfectly fine too. Now you can hem all around. I just serged so the fabric won't unravel. We assembled the riding hood and now it is time to make the tunnel for the string band. I used a polyester ribbon. You are going to need a ribbon as long as the length of the seam plus 1 inch on each side. Fold those additional inches so they finish the tunnel ends. Stitch one side of the band directly on the joining seam. The folded edges should be up. It should look like this. We've stitched one side of the ribbon band and the edges are staying in like this. Then we just top stitch on the other side of the ribbon. Here is how it looks like when it's ready. Now that we have the ribbon stitched on both sides to form the tunnel, we need to put the string band in. This is a string band that I've made out of the organza fabric. You can make it this way too, or you can use any type of a ready-made string band. It's up to you. Now let's put the string band in the tunnel. I've came across this way of inserting a string in a tunnel that is very easy and quick. It can be used to insert any type of a string or elastic in a tunnel very easy. Just use a safety pin. Pin it on one end of the string. Then start inserting it in the tunnel, pulling the fabric back so the safety pin moves forward. When the safety pin comes out on the other side, just take it out and distribute the string evenly on both sides of the hood. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If so, hit the like button below. I would be happy to see you at Sewing for a Living for more tutorials and free patterns. If you prefer, you can subscribe here or follow me on Pinterest, Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for watching.